All right, what's going on, course? This is your professor, Dr. Jace K. Austin, and welcome to week number 10. That is right, week number 10 of your seminar in cultural heritage course, which is part of the 9410 series, unless they make it a permanent course. And with your help, I can make it a permanent course and get its own course number. So please make those evaluations positive if you had a good time with this course, because I would like to continue to teach it. Um, there aren't many things to say in the way of course updates this week, so this really, and I don't have a lot of soapboxing to do, honestly. I know that's a shocker, but I do not. So let's actually just go really quickly here and look at announcements, and then I'll say something about this week's module. Next week is spring break, y'all, so there will not be a uploaded video from me for a check-in. Go ahead and, if you can, take the week off or take that time to catch up on your assignments, either for this class or other classes that you might be taking this semester. And I will be using next week to catch up myself because Dr. Jace is super behind. But when am I? Never. But I do want to first call attention to whatever assignments we might have coming up. First of all, after spring break, yes, be mindful that week after spring break, we will have a synced session with Dr. Stephanie Benjamin, who is a expert on heritage tourism, and she teaches out of the University of Tennessee. Very fascinating speaker. I'm happy to have her back yet again, and I think you all will be happy to listen to her presentation. So remember the Tuesday after spring break. Remember the Tuesday after spring break that you will have a sync session. Make plans now to attend so that you don't run into any sort of hang-up as you when that sync session comes up, because there are points attached to your attendance in that presentation. Also, please know that your midterm quiz, please take that. You can take that this week. It's scheduled for March the 28th. So actually it is due this week. Okay, sorry about that. Yes, the midterm quiz, I thought I had made it I don't even know what's going on there. I'm sorry. But I thought I had made it due after spring break, but apparently I didn't. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and change this so that it is due the Sunday after spring break. By all means, because I can alter it. By all means, if you want to take it now so that you have your spring break off, then please do. Yeah, if you don't have time to take it before the 28th, which is this coming Sunday, then you can take it during spring break. I just don't know why you would want to. It's 4 questions long. It's not difficult. So, I don't want to hear any complaining about the midterm quiz. It's basically 4 questions for me to figure out if you understand some very basic concepts. But because you all are doing so well on the discussions anyway, I already know that you understand these basic concepts, basically. So, having said that, remember that you do have other assignments coming up, and they're going to be coming up pretty quickly here in April. So, your top 4 most important cultural heritages of a community, that will be due on April the 11th. That'll be due. Oh, that's due this week. Lord, okay. This shows how much I'm behind. So yes, I'm going to change that. I'm going to extend both of these things so that you have time to work on them during spring break if you would like to, because I know that there were sample papers, so there's no excuse for you to have not started your 4 cultural heritages paper, and you cannot use an excuse that it took me a while to get your first papers back. I understand that criticism, but you do have sample papers in this case. So, yes, please have those turned in. If you want your spring break all to yourself, then just turn it in before spring break. So that'll be actually on, again, the 28th. It shouldn't have been on the 26th to begin with. I guess because spring break technically starts on the 26th. That's why I had that there. But you can work on that into spring break if you like. So know that that is an option. I am going to change that in the course. But after spring break, you will also have the Q&A for you'll have the Q&A coming up for the mini interview with the cultural heritage worker. And some of you have already done that, but just know that that's coming up, and you'll need to you'll have that due on April the 18th. So, you know, April is going to be moving quick, and we're going to have a lot going on in April, especially with your final assignments and everything. So don't forget your Q&A. But again, your Q&A, your mini interview with the cultural heritage worker, you can do this more in depth if you want. And actually, I see that, you know, Carolyn did just that and did an awesome job. I read hers actually about a month ago. But it can be, as the directions say, it can be as simple as just emailing these 5 questions to a heritage worker, having them answer them, and then posting the Q&A here. Because what this is it's supposed to serve as vocational guidance for you all, so that you can see what types of heritage work is out there and how you can score that type of heritage work if you want to do something with your library of science degree other than traditional libraries. So there's that. If you do have any problems or issues with these upcoming due dates, by all means, let me know. But you all are big kids, and so I don't think that you are going to have any of the struggles that small kids do. And when I talk about extending things in the spring break, you all will notice, and I'll go back to the syllabus here. That's where I meant to be. You all will notice that for week 10, there is a lot of reading, including there's a lot of optional reading. And if you go to this first thing right here, you will see a ton of reading here. I mean, just a ton. And I'm not expecting you all to read all that for sure, but if you're interested in it, it's there. But the reason why I chose this week was because there was a lot of stuff to digest, and it's very important content for a course like this. So if you got bored during spring break and you wanted to just read more about this subject, then you could continue this work into spring break. And that's why I believe, and now I have to double check so that I'm not making a liar out of myself. Let's see here. Okay, so yes, so as you will see, this is actually due on April the 11th. So what was I doing? Was I just tired when I put this together? So okay. All right, this makes sense. Okay, so spring break ends on April the 2nd, but I can't have an assignment, or it actually ends on April the 4th, to be honest with you. And then classes resume on April the 5th. But I can't make something due. I didn't want to make it due on the 26th because I didn't see any reason why you shouldn't be able to work through spring break if you wanted to. Again, I encourage you not to do so if you don't have to, so that you can take a break. But if you wanted to work through spring break, you could. But I couldn't make it due on the 2nd, so that's why it had to be, or I couldn't make it due on the 4th. So that's why it has to be due on the 11th. So I hope all that makes sense. Basically, because I can't make things due during spring break, and I didn't want to make this due prior to spring break beginning, that is why I have a due date of April the 11th. So, but if you want to get it out of the way before then in order to protect your own sanity, I recommend you do so. But there's a lot of reading here, and it's a lot of great reading that you can have. And this was something that I wanted to actually base an assignment around. I just did not. But yes, it's very important that we consider preserving cultural heritage, because cultural heritage is the legacy. It is pretty much the recorded legacy of human accomplishment and of human culture and all these various things. And so when you attack cultural heritage, and there are definitely reasons why militaries like to attack cultural heritage, invading militaries or terrorist groups. You know, whether you love Donald Trump or you hate him, he was the first president in quite a while that decided that cultural heritage sites should openly be on the table, and the UN did not appreciate that at all. But when you destroy cultural heritage, you really are destroying a legacy. Now, I will say this because we'll get back into this a little bit with the Confederacy module. The cultural heritage has to be legit, y'all. So what goes on with a lot of Confederate commemoration, and again, I'll talk about this more in the Confederate module, but what happens with a lot of Confederate commemoration is people think that that stuff sprung up right after the Civil War. It did not. It sprung up during Reconstruction. It sprung up a lot of times between the 1920s and 1970s in order to keep people of color in their place, in order to have the threat of white supremacy looming. That's really why that stuff was put there. So I'm very anti-Confederate commemoration, and I say to hell with all of it. Put it in a museum. You don't necessarily have to destroy it. You don't have to blow it up, but put it in a museum, get it out of the public square, and contextualize it when it is in the museum. Don't just have it there without context, But a lot of people even say, including, you might have seen this on the video when I was talking to Bill, my buddy. I respect Bill and like Bill a lot, but Bill definitely is upset that these Confederate monuments are being removed, and I'm like, nah, the hell with that, we that stuff was not there to commemorate. That was not the intention. And there's troublesome commemoration out there too. I've heard Miller Nichols Library at UMKC. There's objection to that commemoration because of who Miller Nichols was and what he stood for with redlining and racial segregation in Kansas City. But I still think that the commemoration was not necessarily to enforce white supremacist terror, or remind people that white supremacist terror was a looming threat if they did not, quote unquote, act right. But that's precisely the motivation of the commemoration of a lot of that Confederate stuff in the South. It was not honorable commemoration. It was to remind Black people this is where we were and this is where we could be again if the South rises again, if you do not play a submissive role in Southern society. So those are some things that I want you all to just kind of keep in mind. And we'll go through that again a little more in depth in the in that module. But right now, just know that things that do have honorable commemoration motivation, those things are a lot of times subjected to by terrorist groups to attack and everything. And again, it's a way to devalue and destroy heritage. And not that I'm trying to blame Abrahamic religion for anything, but the Abrahamic religions, specifically Christianity and Islam, do have records at different points of history. I'm not speaking now, and I know that there are, people of Christian and Islamic faith there are a lot of good people in the faiths, and these are at times these are oppressive religions, and at times they're not. And nobody should be shamed for being an adherent, so long as they're not oppressing other people. But having said that, both Christianity and Islam do have a track record of destruction of cultural heritage in lands that were colonized or invaded. And part of that was to let people who were conquered and who were colonized know that, the Quran is right or the Bible is right and all your native culture is wrong. And that was a way to get them to acquiesce to a supposed civilizing of the savages or a better way of living and that sort of thing. Now, I want it to be clear that when I say these things, these are the acts of people who supposedly adhere to the religions. They are not the mandates of the religions themselves. And that needs to be made clear. When you try to evaluate religion, one thing that you should probably do is look at the religion, not at the people who are adherents, because the people who are adherents will definitely pervert the teachings of these religions. So I'm just putting that out there. And that was, by the way, not a spiel to convince people to leave a faith or join a faith. That's just me putting it out there. But the UN, UNESCO, various entities throughout the world have determined that, yes, when we're at war, cultural heritage sites are off limits because erasure of culture and erasure of the legacy of people and populations is not acceptable and should not be tolerated. So there's a lot of reading there, and if you want to continue with some of those readings through spring break, by all means. I will not grade the Week 10 discussion post until after April the 11th. All right, so that's going to be it for me right now. Again, just know that you've got a midterm quiz that's only 4 questions long and it'll only take you at the most 10 to 15 minutes to do. You've got that coming up. 15 minutes is even probably stretching it. It'll take 10 minutes at the most for you to do. And then also you do have that paper that you need to get done. And again, I will change the course data so that that paper is due after spring break. That's what I've got for you. There's nothing left. Yeah, let's keep this under 20 minutes. You all have a wonderful spring break, and I will see you after spring break, and you will enjoy the great Dr. Stephanie Benjamin after spring break. Take care. If you can get rest during spring break, please do so. Everybody's stressed out. Everybody's high strung right now, and I get it. And, people need recovery time. Get some me time. Take a nice bubble bath, treat yourself to maybe some, I don't know, delivered dinner or something that's nice. But do something for yourself during spring break. Please engage in some form of self-care. I'm Dr. J's Peace and Grace, and I'm out.